Atrahasis Epic exposed Igigi, rebellion, first human creation, and the forbidden truth. What if I told you? The first labor strike in history did not involve humans at all. It happened before humanity existed, before cities, before kings, before the flood. Ancient Mesopotamian tablets, preserved in the British Museum, describe a moment when the gods themselves refused to work. They burned their tools. They marched through the night, and they surrounded the house of a god, demanding freedom. And the solution: create humans to replace them. This comes directly from the Atrahasis Epic. Not a summary, not speculation, not reinterpretation. A real academic translation from Akkadian cuneiform tablets, dated to around 1700 BC. And there's a part of this story that almost no one talks about. Before humans, there were the Igigi, a class of beings almost completely ignored in modern discussions. But they are central to the story, because without them, humanity does not exist. The tablets describe the Igigi in surprisingly practical terms. They were not just gods in heaven. They were workers. They dug the Tigris River. They carved the Euphrates River. They built irrigation canals. They moved massive amounts of earth. They created the infrastructure of civilization. And this is important. The text does not describe this symbolically. It uses practical administrative language, like records of labor, work assignments, division of tasks, hierarchy, and supervision. The Igigi were organized, structured, controlled, and they worked for thousands of years. Let that sink in. Thousands. And then they stopped. The text shifts tone here. Suddenly it becomes familiar. The work was too hard, the burden too heavy, the labor unbearable. So the Igigi held a council. They discussed their situation, and they made a decision. In the middle of the night, they burned their tools, their spades, their baskets, their equipment, everything. The fire lit up the sky. This was not random destruction. This was symbolic, a rejection of the system itself. The rebel instinct, the urge to question, the resistance to endless labor, was not learned. It was built in from the very beginning. Now here is something even more strange. The text described the Igigi as too high up for mankind, not higher in rank, not spiritually above, too high up, a physical description. They existed somewhere humans could not reach. And here is the key detail. They never interact with humans. Not once. They are part of the system, but completely absent from human experience, which is unusual because in most ancient traditions, gods interact with humans, but the Igigi do not. They remain distant, unreachable, almost removed from the world entire. And this structure does not just appear here. It shows up across civilizations. In the Book of Enoch, beings are meant to stay separate from humans until some rebel. In Greek mythology, the Titans come before the Olympians and are replaced. In Hindu traditions, the Asuras and Devas represent competing forces, different cultures, same structure, a prior class, a conflict, a replacement, and then Womans. The Igigi burned their tools. They refused the system. Their leader was killed, and from his blood, we were created. So according to the Atrahasis tablets, the urge to resist, the instinct to question, the refusal to accept endless labor, is not a flaw. It is the foundation. The tablets still exist. The translation is public. The story is real. The only question is, why is this part not talked about?